You know, in society, romantic relationships seem to be at the top of the pyramid when it comes to human bonding. Well, a new book takes a look at those who have chosen a friend to be their life partner. The Other Significant Others is the new best-selling book by Rhaina Cohen, who asks us to consider what we want from our relationships as opposed to what we are supposed to want. Rhaina joins me now. I'm really excited to talk to you about this. This is a very specific book about a very specific type of relationship. What made you want to cover this angle? I'm curious.
I fell into a friendship that made me question even what friendship is. We lived a 5-minute walk away from each other the first 2 years that we spent together, my friend and I, who I call M, and I would stop by her house on the way to the metro in the morning and have oatmeal together. We would be each other's plus ones to our office parties. She was the person that I turned to, and that went beyond even, I think, what we consider a best friend.
Right.
We felt more committed and more emotionally involved, and I wanted to understand who else was out there like us and what could we learn from them.
And you probably like, oh my gosh, I'm not alone. There are so many other people. What have you learned from the people that you have spoken to, who have chosen a friend as their life partner rather than a romantic partner?
I think they've showed me that a friendship can do pretty much anything that a romantic relationship can do, you know, maybe minus the sex piece.
Yeah.
And these are friends who are buying houses together, who have raised children together, who have taken care of each other through cancer treatment and old age. I mean, there really aren't limits to what friendship can be, even though we might place limits on friendship.
And why do we do that? Because I feel like, you know, when I think about this, when I have friends who think about this, let's just move in together, let's have a big place. And then you think, are they really going to take care of me? Like, what is the bond that's holding them together? But really, there's no difference, right, between a bond of marriage and a bond of friendship, is there?
I think that people overrate how much sex and sparks is going to do in terms of being the glue that holds a relationship together.
You ain't whistling Dixie on that one.
You know, I just, the friends speak for themselves. So, you know, I'm thinking about these two women I write about who are now in their 80s, who have been best friends for 50 years. One took care of the other's children as the kids were growing up, or they, you know, raised them together. They have lived together in a home in their retirement for 25 years, taking care of each other, have medical and legal power of attorney rights to each other. I mean, you know, it's commitment that matters, and commitment can exist whether or not there's a sexual relationship involved.
Right. Or again, that piece of paper that says we're doing this. Why do you think it is seen that way? Why is friendship at the bottom of the hierarchy and marriage is the, you know, the top of the, or the romantic relationship, I will say, at the top of the pyramid?
Well, for one thing, it didn't used to be this way. We take it for granted that a romantic relationship is, of course, the most important relationship in your life. And until like the turn of the 20th century, marriage was a very pragmatic institution. You know, you would bind together families, and friendship was actually where people went to find their soulmates, essentially. And then we've had this kind of split where now a marriage is supposed to be the place where you find your best friend. Your spouse is supposed to be your best friend. That doesn't leave very much room for friendship in your life if you're getting all of that, you know, your confidant and your lover and your co-parent and your best friend in the romantic partner.
That's a lot of pressure, too.
It is a lot of pressure.
So it's okay that even if you maybe chose to make your best friend, maybe they're not the partner you're moving in with. I mean, but like for me, I know I couldn't live without my best friends listening to so many of the things. Like I hate to say it, I turn to them more frequently than I do to my partner when it comes to these things, because I need that perspective, right?
Well, I think the fact that you feel bad about saying that you go to your friends first instead of your romantic partner kind of speaks to the way that we're always supposed to have the romantic partner be the first stop and the most important person. I mean, it's great that you have more than one person in your life that you can go to. That should be something that we celebrate, and not that you feel like you have to defend.
Like guilty because of the archetype set before us. So, you know what? Maybe that is it. I mean, so do we need to, is that the problem? We need to start redefining these things?
I think we need to have more options on the table for the closest relationships in our lives and where we find connection and support, and that it's not romantic relationship or bust, that we have more people in our lives who we can go to for that kind of sustenance.
I'm so glad that you wrote this, because I think that we don't have enough of these relationship models. We don't talk about this. So do we need more relationship models?
I think in a world where nearly half of adults in the U.S. are not married, and people are getting married later and often survive their spouses, particularly women, we need more models for the people who don't get married and for the chapters of life where marriage is not the be-all and end-all. And these friends, like the women I mentioned, who have been best friends for half a century and show us that it is possible to turn to non-romantic relationships in that way can really help us to see that there are more ways to be fulfilled.
It's all about trusting, I think, in people, whether it is a romantic partner or a personal partner, and it's having that truth and that trust. Can open friendship, I guess, can we open up our imagination to what else there might be in here beyond all of this when it comes to relationships in our lives?
I think that these friendships that are so intense can make us more imaginative about how we arrange our lives. So, one thing I just heard was about a man who, after learning about the friendships in this book, decided to move across the country to live with his friend because they want to raise a child together. And that conversation had not been on the table before encountering these sorts of models of how close friendship can be.
Yeah.
That you can have friends come into the roles that we have been told only a romantic partner can fill.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I appreciate that. I think so many of us are listening to what you're saying and saying, we already felt that. It's great to know that we're talking about it and we're putting it on the table, and thank you for putting it in your book. Thank you so much, Rhaina, for coming and sitting on our couch and chatting with us about it. And just a reminder, you can catch Rhaina tonight at her author event at the Elliott Bay Book Company on Seattle's Capitol Hill.